second poem I read here is in this latest edition, it's coming Thursday. It's called Unveil. I wrote the poem, I was at the equivalent of the White House in Cork, which is called Unveil. And when I went in, John Liddy was reading there, and I noticed that the Cork poet, singer and playwright Patrick Galvin, Paddy Galvin, was sitting there in a wheelchair. And I hadn't realised that he had had a stroke. And one thing that struck me was that he lost the use of the right side of his body, so he wasn't speaking either. But his wife, who sat next to him, after the poem was finished, he would just reach up his left hand and they'd automatically clap without even looking at each other. And the synchronization was really about what was between the two of them. So when I got home, I wrote this poem. It's called Unveil, and it's for Patrick Galvin. I anticipated a gaggle of local poets, and there he was, notably perched in the weeds chair, adjacent to a blotter soaked with love. Did I see him stroke the underbelly of his unborn poems, using his frozen oxter, a chamfer of his observations nursing its way to blank vellum? Did I hear his didactic tongue clatter away, sending memos to his awaiting Ayurveda tip? Did I see Sully whisper in his good ear? Did I reach out and touch the stole enveloped you both in unisexual applause? Did I see you search for another half crown? I bet I did. Thank you. This is a love poem. It's a recent one, just a couple of weeks old. And this one's a bit self-explanatory. It's a sonnet. It's called To Team with Life. This morning she woke like a new democracy. Twinning allies, new colours, league-winning euphoric pins delicately piercing her integumentary cloak that earlier I have invaded welcoming. I lie in her minor mould and speak not, for I am a Freudian archaeologist delicately digging in our night shift. Dust motes play around her, as do the showers of celebratory confetti, blessing the steps of a Roman fountain. Hammurabi's scribes bend to obediently tablet X the lush of her wisdom. And I am but a child again, and it is a weekend morning, and I have time to chew the cult of our aftermath for those moments when she showers. Thank you. I had intended reading this poem for Terry tonight. We just spoke about it briefly the last time I was here. And Tom McCarthy read a poem earlier there that he called Dad. So I'd like to read it for Terry and for Tom. It's called Myopic Moments. It's the day I took my father. It's the last journey I had with my father when I took him to the hospital when he got the news he never wanted to hear. So it's called Myopic Moments. When I picked you up that day, it was no different to any bad news day, or any good news day. Speed thumbs were exercising the birth of texting. That was new. As was the news we would inherit in a few hours and dilute to taste. You were my boy now, and I tied your oversized coat and topped your new small head with an ill-fitting cap. I avoided eyeing that new space between your neck and collar. There was a lifetime's history living in there these last few months. Mr. O'Sullivan hurried out of sight around the top corner. You kids at the end of the park crisscrossed on feet and cycled on the road path. You puffed on your inhaler and barely negotiated the 8 paces to my car. Earlier, I had strategically reversed it into our driveway for the first time in 17 years. You fell into the passenger seat like a punch drunk and uselessly puffed again. I wanted to cry, and I wondered if there were times when I was your boy that you wanted to cry. It was a journey of avoidance for the two of us as we swapped volumes of cliches and placebo bonbons. It was to be our last. The fear of death was lodging in your tired and fighting blue eyes. There were 2 reasons now why you couldn't speak. The clinic steps ushered in a few more puffs, as did the 16 steps. I thought of 16 more reasons why you should evict this intruder. Behind the curtain, you bent life's honour in your beg for an extension. 6 weeks he gave you. 6 months after infusing your resilience. Through the glass partition, I saw you pop into a bed of plants. Your 2 empty and unfacilitating lungs begging retirement. I wanted to scoop you up and keep you forever, but you asked me to leave you be. The resilience. You were always a final whistle man, steadfast and determined, brave and heroic, and always searching for that chin to punch, that tackle to make, all robbed now. You never did have time for cowards like me, not until the day when you let a hero drive you home. Thank you.